Miyamoto Musashi remains the definitive icon of the samurai, a man whose life is synonymous with an undefeated record of over 60 lethal duels. The late 16th century was the tail end of the Warring States period, a brutal era where a warrior's reputation was built on the number of heads he could claim in the chaos of the battlefield. Musashi killed his first opponent when he was 12. He grew up in the mud and blood of massive infantry clashes, like the Battle of Sekigahara, where survival was a matter of split-second instinct and raw violence. For a soldier in this environment, swordsmanship served a single pragmatic purpose: keeping the wielder alive for one more day of war. This environment vanished almost overnight when the Tokugawa regime finally managed to unify the nation, ending over a century of civil war. This unification initiated the Edo period, a span of 250 years defined by stability and internal isolation. The sudden transition left the warrior class in a social vacuum. Battlefield armor was set aside for town clothes, and the lethal dueling that defined Musashi's youth was now treated as a public disturbance. A man whose entire life had been a preparation for slaughter now faced a world that had no use for his primary skill. Musashi's survival depended on a trade called mikiri, a word meaning to cut through with a look, or exact discernment. He managed to survive 60 duels by evaluating his surroundings with cold accuracy. He would calculate an opponent's skill and the terrain before a blade was even drawn, often choosing to walk away if the variables didn't guarantee a decisive win. By his 30s, Musashi recognized that physical dueling had natural limits. He stopped seeking lethal confrontations, realizing that the precision he had cultivated in combat could be applied elsewhere. Look at this inkwash painting of a mountain pagoda. Musashi applied the same martial focus to his brushwork, treating the ink and paper with the same irreversible precision he once used with a sword. He had identified a common principle of mastery that governed both the battlefield and the studio. Across Japan, the disappearance of actual warfare forced the samurai class to turn their practice inward to maintain their social standing. This shift created Do, or the way, where martial techniques were reinterpreted as a framework for moral and personal development. Practitioners now faced the challenge of reconciling the aggressiveness of their weapons with a new, peaceful quest for internal harmony. Musashi's personal journey mirrored this national transition. He had to evolve his lethal craft or allow it to become a relic of a dead era. The warrior was forced to adapt, turning a craft perfected for destruction into a method for building the human spirit. In 1643, a 60-year-old Musashi isolated himself within the Regendan Cave, a sacred site near Kumamoto, to begin his final project. He attempted to record the silent, split-second reflexes of a lifetime of combat, trying to capture his physical knowledge on paper before his health failed. The result was the Book of Five Rings. While Musashi's original handwritten manuscript is lost, his mind survived through his students. Rigorous historical review of the surviving copies confirms that his specific strategies were preserved with meticulous detail by those who followed him. He spent his final months struggling against the boundaries of human language, racing to translate the kinetic memory of his body into an eternal text. The Book of Five Rings survived as more than a manual for swordsmen. It remains a treatise on strategy used by people in every domain of conflict. Musashi successfully codified the lessons of the battlefield into a system for navigating any obstacle in life. He is now remembered alongside the peaceful masters of the tea ceremony, a testament to the completeness of his personal change. Musashi demonstrated that by following a single discipline to its absolute limit, a person can find a map that leads toward the mastery of everything else.